In today's video, we're going to be determining what the slope of a line represents, and the objective is in this video, you should be able to read a graph and tell what the meaning of or what that slope on that line of the graph represents. As a quick reminder, slope of a line is represented by the rise of that line over the run of the line. Rise is how far you're going up from point to point or down from point to point. Run is how far to the right or to the left you are going. Rise is also could be represented as the change in y, and the run could be represented as the change in x. Now let's take a look at our first problem. What does the slope of this graph represent? And we're given several choices, and I've gone ahead and written the slope formula as rise over run on the screen. Now what you're going to want to do is determine what the rise is and what the run is, like what they represent on the graph. And probably the easiest way to do that is to think about rise. Remember, that's the y values, and go to your y-axis, which is the one going up or down, and circle the unit on that y-axis. And since the unit is feet, I'm going to say feet over. Now let's find the unit for the run. In this case, our run is the x values. Run is always x, and the unit for our run is time in seconds. So we're going to say feet over seconds. So we're looking for some answer that has to do with feet per seconds. That has to match unit-wise, otherwise the answer doesn't make any sense at all in terms of slope, because slope is going to be something to do with the number of feet per second, or this many feet in this many seconds. So let's go ahead and read through the answer choices and see if we can eliminate some answer choices that don't make sense in this situation. Answer choice A, the plane starts at 1,500 feet. Now while that's true, it does not have anything to do with the slope. The slope has to do with the rate of change, how many feet per second, so A is not the correct answer choice. B, the plane lands after 180 seconds. Now while that is also true, it doesn't have anything to do with the slope, the rate of change. It doesn't tell you how fast the plane is rising or falling. So that doesn't fit either. C, the number of seconds flown per feet descended. Now this is almost it, because it has seconds per feet, and we don't want that. This little division sign right here means per, and it's always read top to bottom, so it should be feet per seconds. So C isn't it. It's got to be D, but let's read it just to make sure. The number of feet descended per second. Notice it says feet per second, and it also says descended, which has to do with the plane going down. So D in this case is completely correct and matches. Here's one for you to try on your own. Go ahead and press pause, work it out, and press play when you're ready to see the answer. Again, it's asking us for the meaning of the slope, or what the slope represents. We're going to start off with slope being rise over run, and we're going to write down what the rise and what the run represent in the situation. So again, rise is your change in y, run is going to be your change in x. Let's take a look at that unit for the y-axis. Again, y being the axis that goes up and down. So our y unit is in miles. So I'm going to go ahead and write down miles. And our run unit is, again, the x. In this case, our x-axis is in the unit hours. So I'm going to go ahead and write down hours. So we're looking for an answer choice that has to do with something like the number of miles per hour, or miles over number of hours, something along those lines. So if we read answer choice A, it says the number of hours per mile. That's not right. It should be miles, and then the little dash means per, because per indicates division in a word problem. So not A. B, the number of miles driven per hour. Ooh, that looks like a pretty good match, because it is miles per hour. Again, miles per hour up at the top. The number of hours it will take to drive 8 miles, not quite it, because rate of change has to do with something per something else. So C doesn't really fit, even though the graph does tell us sort of how long it takes to drive 8 hours. That isn't the answer. Should be looking for an answer that has to do with something per something else. Okay, D, the distance the bike travels in 5/6 of an hour. Again, still not what we're looking for. The slope in general tells us how many miles are driven per hour. So B would be the correct answer choice for this question.